Good afternoon. Happy Sunday. Happy International Women's Day. And happy Women's History Month. This is Dr. Karen again, just bringing another inspirational moment to you. I had an opportunity to attend a women's brunch today, hosted by the Chapman Foundation. It's an organization that provides tiny grants to women who are either looking to open their own businesses or for other means to further themselves educationally, such as finish a college degree, or women who have been in women's shelters who are just having a difficult time getting on their feet. So it provides funding for them. So it was just a really wonderful experience to be around so many positive and uplifting female leaders in the city of Houston. So it was a great experience that I really enjoyed. So before we get started, I just wanted to make another shameless plug about my book Breakthrough, featuring myself and 20 other authors about short stories on overcoming obstacles and achieving success. My book is available on Amazon.com for about 20 bucks. And you can just purchase it there if you're interested. Just search Breakthrough Dr. Darwin. Or if you want an autographed copy, you can find me on LinkedIn. Just search my name on LinkedIn, easy to find there. So what I wanted to chat with you briefly about today, grab my other resources, is a book, is an idea, a couple books, and an idea called either The Compound Effect or The Slight Edge. I first learned about this idea probably about 10 or 11 years ago by reading books. I'm an avid reader. I'm a big nerd. In my book, I affectionately call myself a ghetto nerd, but you know, learning about these principles, it really quantified what I already believed and what I was already doing. So I'm going to share two books with you that have been really helpful for me to understand these principles of the compound effect and the slight edge. The first is called The Slight Edge by Jeff Olson. Really wonderful book about how those, actually both books are about how those small incremental steps in your life. This is by Darren Hardy, called The Compound Effect. And it speaks on those small incremental steps in your life, how they make a huge difference and a huge impact over time. So like I tell my students and my clients all the time, nothing ever happens in a vacuum. Everything that you do, your daily disciplines, your daily habits, they accumulate over time. Working in mental health as a psychologist, you know, we see this as true in the trauma work, especially in like post-traumatic stress disorder, and the prominent study by Kaiser Permanente called the ACEs study, the Adverse Childhood Experiences study. And what that study entails is that the idea of everything that happens to a child over time, it has, or it can potentially have, a negative and long-lasting impact upon adulthood, unless, you know, there's some sort of intervention or some sort of support network that helps that child overcome that particular tragedy or trauma or whatnot. So I started thinking to myself and thinking about, you know, the ACEs and trauma and all that sort of work. If it's true for negative things that happens in our lives, wouldn't it be true for the reverse? Wouldn't it also be true for positive things? You know, in the field of mental health, of course, we focus more on diagnoses and pathology, but I also like to look at the positive psychology aspects and looking at, you know, growth, going from where you are to achieving your ultimate potential, such as, you know, on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, going forward and trying to achieve that idea of self-actualization. Because I feel that many times, you know, most people are just, you know, trying to get those basic needs met to the point where the idea of self-actualization seems like an impermeable goal. So I just wanted to take a few moments to share with you the idea of the compound effect or the slight edge and why it is important in our daily lives. So everything we do, everything we seek to accomplish daily, we take daily steps towards those things. Think about our diets. Think about our work habits. Think about our activity levels. So if you're eating, and I think there was a study done on this, like a fast food study. A guy ate Taco Bell for a year, and some other guy ate McDonald's for a year, and the outcomes of those and things of that nature. But if you think about, every other, physical component of life, if you have bad habits in those areas, they're going to accumulate over time. For instance, if you eat unhealthy foods, you have a sedentary lifestyle, high stress lifestyle, guess what? More than likely, you'll have a higher likelihood of, heart disease, heart failure, just overall stress, stroke, things of that nature. It's the same way for our mental strivings. If you want to achieve success, most people think of the idea of an overnight success. There's no such thing as an overnight success. Everything that we do on a daily basis, we take steps towards that, whether we're aware of those steps that we're taking, whether they're cognizant steps, or whether we're just living haphazardly or just trying to survive. So every day, when we wake up in the morning, we decide what we're going to do. Are we going to live with intention and live on purpose? Or are we just going to let life push us around like a boat in the ocean with no sail and no rudder? So, in looking at our lives, I just wanted to share 5 components that I feel that how the compound effect can have a positive impact on your daily life. So one, I wanted to focus on the daily disciplines. As I mentioned before, everything that you do has an impact on your life, whether you realize it or not. So as far as the mental sphere and the personal growth sphere and the achievement sphere, if you wake up every morning and you decide that you're going to take positive steps towards your success, then more than likely you'll be successful. Now, it's going to take time. There are no such things as an overnight success. But you have to continue to push forward. I think Earl Nightingale was the first person that I heard discuss the definition of success in this manner. He described it as the progressive realization of a worthy ideal. So what does that mean? You're making progress on something that's worth doing over time, and eventually you'll be successful if that's what you want. The next idea is patience. The Bible talks about patience in Corinthians. Love is patient, love is kind. Why is patience so important? Well, one reason I feel like patience is so important is that sometimes we may not be actually ready to receive and achieve the things that we're destined for. We may have to learn a lesson to teach us to be more fiscally responsible, more morally responsible, more intentional in our living. So the patience that we experience and the troubles that we experience and the tribulations that we experience on the way to our triumph may actually be a lesson in preparation to make sure that you're ready to achieve and receive, and you won't twiddle your resources away that you've worked so hard for and end up in a much worse situation that you were initially. I'm sure you've heard the stories of the lottery winners who've made their millions or billions of dollars instantly, and because they haven't gone through that struggle of earning the money and learning the lessons about being fiscally responsible and rallying the individuals around them to show them support and to teach them how to be financially responsible. Many of them ended up in much worse situations than they were before they won the lottery, and some even ended up in death. I remember hearing about one lottery winner, I can't remember exactly where, I think it was in Michigan, where the individual ended up dying from an overdose as a result of just getting involved in a lifestyle of excess and just not having the right people around him or her to help him be responsible. I've often heard this story of the Chinese bamboo tree and how the idea that, every day the tree is watered and nurtured on a regular basis, but it actually takes 5 years for that tree to uproot from the ground. So I think that that's just a story in patience and persistence, my next point. Patience and persistence to help you remember that although things don't happen exactly when you want them to, they always happen right on time. And you can't give up no matter how difficult things become, no matter how fleeting success may seem, you just got to keep going no matter what. You have to keep pushing and persevering and praying, um, and keep believing in yourself. That's another point that I have. Belief in yourself, belief in your dreams, understanding who you are, who you belong to, who's your father, your heavenly father, and how can you keep persisting and having that patience in the meantime, even though things look bleak. Even though you're doing those daily disciplines, you're taking daily steps, you're watering and nurturing your tree, and you're waiting for it to uproot from the ground. Because no one else is going to understand your dream. And it's not their role or their right to understand your dream. It's up to you to be a keeper and a broker of your dream, and to keep pushing forward regardless and understanding the big picture. Finally, I wanted to mention tenacity. You have to be tough. You have to be tough when using the compound effect. Why do you have to be tough? Because there's always going to be negativity, and negativity isn't always external. Sometimes it's internal. Sometimes it's our own low self-esteem, our own feelings of worthlessness, our own limiting beliefs that hold us back. We always want to blame the devil. The devil is doing this. The devil is busy. The devil is busy. Well, look within the devil, within yourself. What am I telling myself every day? Am I mentally nourishing myself and physically, like I'm physically nourishing myself? Am I spiritually nourishing myself? Am I surrounding myself with positive people so that I can have that tenacity to push forward and keep pushing and keep praying and keep believing in myself? So that's all I wanted to share with you today. Just a couple different resources about, the compound effect or the slight edge and why it's important to me in my life. In my book, Breakthrough, I discuss, the obstacles that I went through of, becoming college educated and getting my degree and becoming a doctor and things like that. And it took a lot of struggles and challenges. And without, belief in myself and tenacity and patience and persistence and utilizing this compound effect idea, I would have never been able to achieve a third of the dreams that I've had in my heart that God placed there, especially for me. So that's why I wanted to share these concepts with you today. I hope it's been helpful for you. Please like the video if you enjoy it, and I'll see you soon. Take care.